Sports Central, and we'll be going over our XFL Week 3 game predictions as well as what you can expect from these teams heading in to Week number 3. We're going to get started with our first game of Week 3, and it's going to be the Houston Roughnecks traveling down to Tampa Bay to play the Tampa Bay Vipers. Of course, as you can see in the bottom left corner, those are my rankings for these teams. I've got the Vipers currently ranked as the worst team in the XFL, as many do. Of course, they're 0-2, and then last week they took another bad loss, this time to Seattle. They lost that game 17-9. Meanwhile, the Roughnecks are considerably one of the best teams in the entire league right now. Of course, they beat the St. Louis BattleHawks 28-24 last week, and also in week number 1 they also had another dominant win. So the Roughnecks are at 2-0 right now, and having to travel to Tampa Bay where you face probably the worst team in the league, I gotta say the Roughnecks are gonna get the win here. I'm gonna say more of a blowout win as well, 34-12. Of course, the scores will be a little bit different as it is the XFL and you also have different rules. Second game of week number 3 is going to be the Dallas Renegades and the Seattle Dragons. Of course, both these teams, I believe, got wins in week number 3. The Renegades ended up beating the Los Angeles Wildcats 25-18. Meanwhile, the Seattle Dragons got a win against the Tampa Bay Vipers 17-9. So both these teams are coming off of wins, and also the Dragons are staying at home. They were at home last week too, and both these teams being 1-1. Renegades now have Landry Jones back at quarterback, and he played pretty decent last week. And considering he will likely play in week number 3, I'm going to take the Renegades in this one, 26-23. No offense to the Dragons, but of course, I mean, the Dragons' only win is to the Tampa Bay Vipers, while the Renegades actually have a decent win against the Los Angeles Wildcats. But nonetheless, heading into your third game of the weekend, it's going to be the New York Guardians and the St. Louis BattleHawks. Both these teams are pretty interesting ones. Of course, the New York Guardians looked pretty good after their week 1 win against the Vipers, but after week 2, not so much. They ended up losing to the DC Defenders. They actually got shut out 27-0, and that did not look like a very good game for them. As for the St. Louis BattleHawks, they ended up losing to the Houston Roughnecks 28-24 last week, so both teams lost. But of course, St. Louis, that was a controversial ending there against Houston, so you could also consider the Battlehawks could have gotten the win there, and they would be 2-0 right now. But nonetheless, I think the Battlehawks win this one 18-13. Both teams are being 1-1, and also after the Guardians' tough loss last week and now having to go on the road again, I think the Battlehawks get the win here 18-13 in a low-scoring one. Just because both these teams tend to have lower scoring games so far this season. That's why I've got it lower scoring here. But once again, 18-13, St. Louis wins this game in week 3. Final game of the week is going to be the DC Defenders, who I've got as my number 1 ranked team of the week, going up against the Los Angeles Wildcats. Of course, the Defenders being 2-0 right now, and they're just looking very good. Of course, shutting out the New York Guardians was a huge win for them last week, and now having to travel to Los Angeles, I feel pretty confident in the DC Defenders in this game. I'm giving them the win 30-16, but I would not be surprised to see it be a little bit of a lower scoring game. But nonetheless, you have the Wildcats now 0-2. They took a loss this week against the Dallas Renegades 25-18, so that's a tough loss to have to come off of. But nonetheless, yep, the DC Defenders, Cardale Jones, and probably they also have one of the best wide receivers in the entire league, if not the best. So, yeah, once again, very confident in this Defenders team. I think they get the win here, 30-16, and that about wraps up our week number 3. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this week. Let me know your game predictions as well as score predictions, and also let me know your rankings in the comments below as well. Of course, the rankings are pretty interesting since you've only got 8 teams in this league. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central, and I will see you all later.